Hello, friends. Day 3 of NBA free agency. Once again, I am Tom Downey. That is Jimmy Crowther. We have some more news has rolled in right before we go live, which I love. It's funny how that has worked out. Let's start with the biggest one here. Willie Cauley-Stein heading to the Golden State Warriors, which I'm actually surprised by.
I'm surprised about it too, but I love the move by Golden State. They just went out and said, hey, Cauley-Stein, here's a minimum deal. Do you want to play for us? And he said, sure. And I can't believe it because I genuinely thought he would get a bigger payday somewhere else. He kind of went out and bet on himself, and now he's just taking the minimum.
I thought somebody would have offered like the mid-level to bring him in.
At least.
Like the Hawks, I thought would have made perfect sense. I mean, from his perspective, I am a little surprised by WCS in his move here.
I am too. I think he could have carved himself out a bigger role somewhere else, like you said, like a Hawks, like a rebuilding young team. Maybe one of the teams that still has money, like the Dallas Mavericks. He could have waited for the Clippers even, and he could have been their new starting center. It's fine. It's fine for him. He has a role now on a championship level team, but it's a steal for the Warriors, frankly.
Look, he's a solid option here, coming in off. I think not the bench. I think he's going to start in Golden State, right?
I think you have to at this point.
I mean, right? they did bring back Kevon Looney, so I guess the question here becomes who really starts in the end for the Warriors at center? Type L for Looney, C for Cauley-Stein. Looney makes more, but Willie Cauley-Stein has had better numbers the past couple years. Of course, he's had a bigger role too. Yeah,
I think that's one thing you got to keep in mind. In all honesty, I think they'll both get pretty equal minutes at this point. I like it. It's a good way to stagger minutes. If Looney doesn't fully recover because he did have a weird shoulder injury, and if Cauley-Stein ends up not consistent, then you just switch him off.
Also, side note here, Logan Coleman says bets $1 million you won't shout him out. So pay up. Venmo's at
Jimmy_Crowther.
No, at what
Jimmy
going down.
Crowther.
Thank you. All right. At what going down. Moving on to another Golden State Warriors move. They've signed Glenn Robinson III to a 2-year $1 million minimum deal with a player option.
Yeah, interesting deal. Glenn Robinson's just kind of an athlete guy that can kind of shoot. He just never really got there with the Pistons. And now he goes to the Warriors and I guess takes over for Alfonzo McKinney. Again, another guy where you just kind of throw a flyer on him and hope that he turns out to be something. And he's got the player option on the back half, so if he can play himself into a bigger contract, then hey, good for him, I
think this makes sense for Golden State. They needed more wings.
Right.
I mean, they don't really have anybody now. I think they'll use some maybe more hybrid 3-guard lineups, but Robinson can truly play the small forward role in today's positionless basketball, but beyond Robinson, they don't have a lot of actual threes on that team.
No, and maybe that's why, potentially you could make the argument that maybe he starts over Jordan Poole, but for now, we'll go ahead and slot Poole in there. And hey, gotta admit, a recovery after losing a top 2 player in the league like Kevin Durant, this isn't half bad.
It's been a really good action.
Now, it is a pretty random bunch of players thrown in together, besides Steph and Draymond, of course.
We'll make it work.
But it's going to be kind of fun and exciting to watch. Look, Willie Cauley-Stein, D'Angelo Russell, kind of a meme team sort of thing going on, but both of them are quality players.
That's actually, I think, a good point there. So again, Willie Cauley-Stein heading to the Golden State Warriors. That one is reportedly just above the minimum. Now, I will make note here, the Warriors, because of the D'Angelo Russell sign-up and everything else, they're pretty much hard capped.
Yeah.
So they can only sign a minimum. They have a little bit of extra money to play with. It seems like most of that's going to go to Willie Cauley-Stein. So the Glenn deal here, I assume we do know it's a 2-year deal with a player option. That's going to be for the minimum.
Yeah, and we'll see, again, with that player option, we'll see if he can play himself into a bigger contract next summer if he has a big role on a potential playoff team in the Warriors.
All right, another signing here. That is James Ennis. He is heading back to the Philadelphia 76ers, a 2-year, $4.1 million deal. Another decent bench option.
I actually really like this deal because, look, the 76ers, sneaky recovery from losing Jimmy Butler. You go out and you get Al Horford. You go get Mike Scott back. You bring in Kyle O'Quinn, who we'll get to here in a second. James Ennis, that's a quality wing that can defend better players, and they steal him away from the Clippers and the Lakers, who were looking really hard at him, who would have probably picked him up had Kawhi Leonard not chosen one of those teams.
Yeah, Leonard continues to wait. More on him in a little bit here. Ennis says, I'm just going to re-sign with Philadelphia, where you can continue to be a bench wing for them. I think that makes sense as well.
Yeah, good three-point shooter and a good defender, which is their classic 3-and-D type player. He played a good role for them in the playoffs. I like it. Again, It's not like you're throwing a whole bunch of money at the guy or expecting him to be a big player. It's just enough to come off the bench for you.
Also, I'll make a quick note here. We won't spend much time on it, but Shake Milton, the point guard,
Right.
also just re-signed with Philadelphia on a 4-year deal.
Interesting. I didn't even realize he was a free agent, but hey, pony up.
All right, let's move then to the player everybody is waiting on.
Everyone.
Kawhi Leonard. Now, Chris Carter, who does, by the way, have ties to Kawhi's camp and everything, so I think he's a trusted source, even though he was the football player. Leonard has not yet made a decision. The Raptors, Clippers, and Lakers remain the only 3 teams in the mix. Nobody else has the money, and Dallas is just not going to get him Jimmy still in shambles about that one. And we continue to have this point hammered home. No one really knows when it's going to happen.
Nope. Drake doesn't know. LeBron James doesn't know. Jeannie Buss doesn't know. Magic Johnson doesn't know. Jerry West doesn't know. Heck, Uncle Dennis doesn't even know what Kawhi Leonard's doing at this point. It is a complete
Uncle
mystery.
Dennis might know.
I don't think so.
He
I
ain't telling him.
think Kawhi knows and Kawhi only, but it's keeping it tight-lipped, and this could draw out for another 2 days into our July 4th holiday, Tom.
It could. All right, so in terms of what each of the teams are doing right now, the Lakers remain super confident they are going to get Kawhi.
Yeah. That's interesting to me because one thing that the Kawhi's quote-unquote camp wants is for the teams that he's talking to be tight-lipped, but they keep expressing how confident they are, and hey, good for them, I guess, to feel that way.
Well, the Lakers are the leakiest organization, I think, in the NBA overall.
Very true.
So both LA teams trying to say Kawhi. We've heard nothing out of Toronto, so I think they're doing a pretty good job there as well. Now, for Toronto, Drake is also helping to recruit Kawhi.
He's doing everything he can. He's, mounting a major pitch to Kawhi, which I guess that helps, right? You would assume if it's a star rapper like Drake. We'll see, though.
All right, so speaking of Drake, what's your favorite Drake song? We'll give some shout-outs here. Jimmy, what's your answer here?
Man, when Hotline Bling came out, I was obsessed with it. It's faded now. I guess I'll just go basic. I'll say God's Plan. It's an easy one, right?
God's Plan, I think makes some sense there. God's Plan is one I see quite a bit in there.
I also loved his freestyle he tried to throw together after they won the championship when he was talking about he wants
chip with the dip.
He wants the dip with the chip, and he's got too much dip on his chip, but he wants more chip with the dip. Hey, good
that
for
was
him.
awful.
It's my favorite song by Drake.
I think God's Plan wins there in the end. So again, folks, here are the top 3 teams for Kawhi, the only 3 teams at this point. The Clippers, the Lakers, and the Raptors. And we continue to not really know.
Right. It's just a big guessing game. Yeah. Lakers feel like they're the favorite. Clippers are being completely silent, which might be a good sign now that we think about it. And Toronto has Drake on their side, so you never know.
I honestly don't know if that's a positive in the end for Kawhi. He's not like the super celebrity. Like that's not who Kawhi is.
Oh, you mean I thought you meant Drake.
Oh no, I meant like Kawhi isn't like attracted by the I'm gonna.
Oh
be
yes, you're right.
Now.
You're right. Okay,
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
All right, folks. So when will Kawhi sign? Let us know. If you get it exactly right, we'll throw out a prize here. Email us. Email Kawhi's burner email at Kawhi@chatsports.com.
Now, I made my prediction.
He'll respond.
The time has already passed.
Yeah.
What did I say? 3:02 p.m. or something like that. Today. It's now 5:08 Central Time here. The time has passed. I'm no idea at this point. What about you, Tom?
There are two viable options here. Number one, 4th of July at 12:07 p.m. Eastern Time. And he goes, and if he does that, he does it, and he goes back to America, and the ultimate sign of patriotic display out of Kawhi. Or, regardless of where he picks, he just ends up picking like 3 a.m. randomly, and it gets leaked when everybody else is asleep, and we all
3 a.m. in Toronto. That's a Drake song for you there.
Wait, really?
Tommy Boy. Yeah, it sure
well,
is.
there we go. Full circle. All right, now speaking of the Raptors, Kawhi is meeting with them today. I'll make note, the original report was that the Raptors were going to get the last visit. So, in theory, once he's done, we're going to get closer to the decision then, right? That's how it works.
Yeah, you would think, but I guess we don't really know when it's happening or if it already happened. Who knows? But, I mean, the fact that he's at least grading them the last meeting, I think that's good for them. So, good for Kawhi, good for Toronto. I am still holding out a small bit of hope that he stays there, but it's quickly fading. But they do get the last meeting, so that's important.
So we'll see what happens there with Kawhi. I know we want more information there, but the updates are he met with the Raptors,
all we got.
And Nobody knows. So RIP that Reddit guy, I think, at this point.
Oh, what was his name?
RDA Ambition.
RDA Ambition.
Or I guess
Nobody.
RD Ambition.
Nobody ever tried to tell us what he's tweeting or if he's breaking news in our chat again because it means nothing to us now. He is not credible.
All right, so let's look here at these potential lineups for each team. The Lakers here with Kawhi. I think LeBron plays point. You got some of the bench options kind of penciled in there. I'll keep Caruso on there just because, you know, he's the GOAT. But I don't. It's still very much a group in progress there.
Yeah, I mean, but if you have those four right there in Kawhi, LeBron, AD, and Kuzma, you're going to make the playoffs basically no matter what. I love this idea. It's exciting. And then they drafted Taylor Horton-Tucker. They signed Troy Daniels to a deal. He's just a shooter to come off the bench. And we'll see how they kind of fill out the rest of this roster around those four. But they're not the only team in LA chasing after Kawhi Leonard. Of course, the Clippers are also trying to get involved, staying tight-lipped, but this is what they could have, Tom.
It's an intriguing unit there. You still have Lou coming off the bench. You have Landry Shamet in there too. Mo Harkless can be a backup small forward defensive guy there. I think the Clippers, more so than the Lakers, also allows a little bit more load management in theory. Of course, if you're Lakers, well, okay, we'll just have Kawhi take this night off, and then, oh, look, we still have LeBron and AD.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Clippers are more well-rounded than the Lakers because they have a full team. I mean, they could actually run 5-on-5 games in practice while the Lakers are running like 3-on-3. So they do have the more full team. They're ready to play right now, and Kawhi immediately becomes the guy with the Clippers in this situation.
So that's kind of some updates there on the lineups there. And the Raptors, meanwhile, we'll leave Danny Green off this because who knows, but it's still a very similar squad to what we saw last year.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you bring back this same team, you're still a championship contender because you already showed that you could win with this team. I love that Marc Gasol is back. Even though Pascal Siakam already took a huge step, I expect him to take an even bigger step this next season. It's a great squad in Toronto, and Kawhi has very real potential to go back there.
All right, so Raptors not out of the mix either. Also make note, Chris Carter, who does have ties to Kawhi's camp, said that the Clippers are not out of it yet either. So
we don't know anything.
We're full circle back to where we were before free agency, where it's probably one of these three teams: Toronto, the Clippers, or the Lakers. So type TOR for the Raptors, LAC for the Clippers, LAL for the Lakers. How you feeling right now? I know that the feelings kind of change more and more.
They have. Originally, right after here's how my timeline kind of went. Had you asked me in the middle of the season, I would have said the Clippers. Okay. If you asked me right after the finals, I would have said Toronto.
But you did.
If you asked me right now, I'm saying the Los Angeles Lakers. So
what you're saying is, no matter what, you're wrong.
Exactly, but I'm also right no matter what.
Schrodinger's guess. All right, folks, keep those votes coming here. I do see some random ones like OKC. If you're typing in an option other than these three, enjoy being wrong, I guess. I think LAL.
LAL is winning. Yeah. I've only seen like 2 LACs, and then another sprinkle in there of TOR with the Toronto Raptors. Producer Tad wants to see the Dallas Mavericks snag Kawhi Leonard, and hey, they have the money to do it, kind of, sort of.
It's not going to happen there. All right, let's move then to DeMarcus Cousins, perhaps the next biggest name out there on the open market. It has not gone the way Boogie wanted it to go. The report from ESPN was that he was hoping the big market teams would miss.
Yep.
And that he would then be able to sign a one-year deal worth maybe $12 million, 15, 18, something like that. That didn't happen. The Knicks didn't have much interest there. And now it's unclear what Boogie's going to get. Boston is out. The Warriors are out as well after they just signed 2 more players here. And it's unclear if Boogie can even get the mid-level coming off yet another injury.
Yeah, it's tough for Boogie. Even if you didn't love him as a player and you didn't like all of his kind of antics there, I still cheered for the guy after he tore his ACL or his Achilles. I wanted to see him come back. He came back, started to get into a groove with the Warriors in a few games, just about 30, and then he tears the quad and suffers another big setback, comes back, plays 2 really good games in the finals, and then never plays another meaningful minute for them. So now it becomes, hey, if one of these LA teams miss on Kawhi Leonard, I think Boogie ends up there. Of course, the Mavericks still have cap space. We've already talked about them. But also the Atlanta Hawks, maybe they'll just take a risk and they'll say, hey, you can be our quote-unquote veteran presence this next year. And, this is all. But, again, the teams that have money don't necessarily want to spend their money on Boogie.
And, again, there's only 4 teams with the money, and 2 of them are hoarding it to keep Kawhi as an option there. Dallas has it. The Hawks have it in terms of like, oh, I want to get that $10 million deal. Maybe Atlanta makes sense because they could use another center, and they kind of quickly went off the market with Willie Cauley-Stein being picked up today.
Yeah,
not that many left now.
I really don't have a good prediction of where DeMarcus Cousins ends up. The only thing I will predict is if Kawhi doesn't go to the Lakers, I think Boogie ends up a Los Angeles Laker next season because maybe Anthony Davis wants him
I thought
back.
it was going to happen last year, and then it didn't end up happening, so go figure there. All right, folks, so what team will sign DeMarcus Cousins? Throw it down there in the comment section. I do see quite a few OKCs.
What is up with OKC?
I guess the OKC fans are watching today.
All right.
We'll discuss you guys in a little bit.
Nothing better to do in Oklahoma. I'd know. Trust me.
He goes to Oklahoma State. That's why. So you're allowed to make fun.
I'm allowed to make fun of Oklahoma. Don't get all
can't.
upset there, Oklahoma City guys. But let me say this.
I see a couple no ones, by the way.
I do think Oklahoma City would be fun. But they signed Nerlens Noel, they signed Mike Muscala, they signed Alec Burks. They have absolutely no money unless Boogie wants to absolutely take the minimum, which I don't see happening. I think he will end up getting at least the mid-level by the time the season rolls around.
All right, folks, talk about some more free agents here. How about Jamal Crawford? Look, he's 39 years old. He is not the same player he once was, but he has still shown flashes of being a bench scorer. He's not going to be the same prime sixth man that he was, but if you're looking for that veteran depth, he does still make some sense.
Are we forgetting that he dropped 55 points in the Phoenix Suns' final road game last season against the Dallas Mavericks?
Yeah, but Kobe had that magical game too. So again, that was the flashes thing.
I know. I'm just saying. But
Kobe's last game was great, by the way.
If you guys want to throw OKC in for any player, it's Jamal Crawford. He actually would make a lot of sense there for a veteran minimum contract. Just a quick spark off the bench. Give him 12 to 15, see what he can do. But Oklahoma City's not the only team interested. We've also got the Brooklyn Nets who potentially want to bring him in. Maybe he's finally ready to chase a title. Los Angeles Lakers, Philadelphia 76ers. I actually really like that fit.
I think less so not they just brought back James Ennis.
Potentially.
I think that's where he's going. That's the fit there.
But if you don't bring back McConnell, you need another guard off the bench. Maybe that's him. And then Thunder and the Heat. I think the Thunder are the most likely option out of these these teams that were listed for Jamal Crawford.
I kind of like the fit with LA there. I think that makes a lot of sense because they need bodies, they need ring chasers. Crawford can help that out there. Now, I already saw it a couple times in the comment section, so do it. Type Zaza to trigger Jimmy here, because for whatever reason, Jimmy gets upset when he sees the phrase Zaza in there. What happened?
It's not that I don't like that guy. It's just the fact that I came on here one day, was watching a live feed from Chat Sports because we go live all the time, and I was trying to keep up. I looked down, and that name is just rolling through the live chat. So I said, hey, I'm done. I'm banning it. I'm not letting our watchers, our subscribers use that word in our chat. That hasn't done really any good.
I'll let the Zazas flow in. I also want to shout out the super chat here from Trent Becker asking if Golden State is still a contender for the finals.
You can't count them out.
Yeah,
I mean, you just can't.
They're not the favorite. They're not as good as they were last year, but I think they're definitely still a contender.
There's no clear cut. That's how you say it. A clear-cut favorite for the Western Conference champions this year.
Thank you for all the Zazas. Also, I saw some T words. You're not allowed to say that. I just saw it again. You can't talk about those. No T words in there. In the meantime, we'll move to extensions here for Ben Simmons, who's also terrified of a T word, the three-point line. Now, or I guess that's a T phrase, but still counts. Now, Simmons and the Sixers working on a big extension, a max deal, 5 years, $170 million. What do you make of this one?
I actually hate this.
Because he can't shoot?
Because he can't shoot. You know, give him another year or two, maybe. Well, I don't know how many years he has left, but see if he can develop a jumper or at least attempt to develop a jumper. See if he's willing to commit to, potentially make one. I would throw a clause in this extension where say, hey, you can get this much money if you attempt and make this many three-pointers over the course of the next 5 years or so. Then it's okay. I don't think that's allowed. Contract. Let me write up the contract.
Then all of a sudden, end of the year, Ben's just chucking threes.
Do not give that much money to a guy who's, Rajon Rondo, let's take him for example. Not the same size, different type of player. He can't shoot the three. He was a great point guard, though, and he's getting, less than the minimum.
Prime Rondo was really good, though. Just to make that clear.
That's very true.
So, look, the Sixers core is pretty much set in place. Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid, Al Horford. Richardson has a little bit less time on there. They've drafted guys like Matisse Thybulle and Zaire Smith. What do you make of this core?
Yeah, now you can throw James Ennis back in there as well for their wing depth.
Maybe over Jonah Bolden. I don't know.
Again, I mean, it's an incredible recovery from losing an elite two-way player like Jimmy Butler. You know, I like Josh Richardson. I like Tobias Harris a lot. I like Joel Embiid if he can stay healthy. Horford's a little older than the rest of these guys, but he makes a lot of sense. Ben Simmons is really the biggest question mark, which is kind of surprising because he can't shoot, and when he's off the ball, you can't do anything with him.
The people are big mad at you for comparing Ben Simmons to Rondo. So, I'll give you a chance to redeem yourself here.
Okay.
Will the Sixers win a title with this core?
No. No, they won't.
Everyone get big mad at
Ben
Jimmy.
Simmons is not like a title-winning player. Like, if he's your focal point of any of your offense, you're chopped and screwed because he can't shoot. So if you're saying, here, go get us a bucket, yeah, maybe if his buddy T.J. McConnell or maybe J.J. Barea is guarding him, he can just drive on him all day long. But if he has to, I mean, for crying out loud, their defense plays like all the way into the paint. They don't guard him on the three-point line. He's not a threat all the time on offense. I'm not willing to give him that much money. And no, that's my answer. They won't win a title with this core.
I don't know who put this one in, but we'll go to it. Type 1 if you're a better shooter than Ben Simmons.
I'm typing 1 right now from my account.
Your All Things Mavs account?
Yep.
There you go.
It's coming in.
Let's see if the ones do flow in there. Someone else typed in brick, so I guess that also qualifies there.
I'd actually like to say, hey, Ben Simmons, if I can outshoot you in an open gym, I get your extension money and see what happens.
I bet he still beats you.
I don't know. It's worth a shot.
All right, folks, keep typing in your ones. And also, we're doing something special for you tonight.
We are. We sure are.
If enough people in the comments use the emoji or say taco or spell taco, type it in there, we'll talk about him for you. Some of you guys were doing it before we even asked for it. So, producer Brett's not in charge tonight. So, it's producer Tad. So, thank Tad.
Tad's a big taco guy.
If enough people put in taco in the chat, we will talk about Taco Fall here, all right?
We'll taco about him.
We'll talk about it.
No, we'll taco about him.
Oh, taco about him. There you go. And also, I will eat this tortilla while we do it, and I'll let Jimmy do most of the talking here. So, keep them coming there. A little bit more. We need a little bit more here. We got how many? We got about 300 messages a minute. Let's get that number up.
That really doesn't entice me to talk about him all that much, honestly.
I'm going to eat the taco, and we're going to do it here. Jimmy, Taco Falls impressing during Summer League.
That sure is the report, Tom. He says
this is really dry.
Yeah, it's been sitting out here in the office for about 2 hours now.
But some sour cream or cheese or something.
Says the report out of the Summer League camp is that his mobility has been better than expected, and I mean that was the biggest question mark facing him and his health, I guess, because he's so tall. But hey, if the guy can move, maybe you bring him in. But you know, if he was really impressing that much, the Celtics wouldn't have gone out and signed some guy from overseas and brought back Daniel Tice and signed Enes Kanter. Like, he can't be that impressive.
So you're saying Taco's going to start?
On the Summer League team, yeah, he sure will. Can't wait to go out there and watch him in the Summer League.
I am actually really curious to see how Taco plays out there.
Oh, I am. It's going to be super fun. I'm definitely excited.
We'll do some taco shout-outs here, too, as I finish up this really gross plain tortilla.
What's your favorite taco place, Tom, before you give your shout-outs here?
Taco Bell.
Okay, that was a weak answer.
Kind of a cop-out answer, but Taco Bell's delicious.
Interesting. Well, Ivan Smothers wanted to see some taco talk. Daniel wanted to see some. Wes Chandler, Patrick Ye, Tyler Burbeck. Cole says this Jimmy
Savage
dude
Rose
is dumb, and he also says taco. So sorry if I made you mad there, but a lot of people keep typing taco. They want to keep hearing about him.
Is that a weird options in there? Taco Bell. Someone said bowl in there. Saucy OJ says Taco Bell. But again, here for the Celtics, here's their current lineup, and they have Robert Williams, they have Kanter, they did just bring back Daniel Tice as well. They signed the overseas guy who we'll get to in a little bit because I don't have my pronunciation in front of me, and it's awful to say if I don't. There's 4 centers right there. So it doesn't look great for Taco actually making the roster here.
Yeah, no, it sure doesn't. And it is kind of disappointing. I'm not going to lie. It's not that I don't like him. Like, I actually...
Kind of sounds like you don't like him.
No, it's not that I don't like him. I really do like Taco Fall, and I'm going to cheer for him to make it into the league. It's just I'm trying to be realistic here, and I don't want to give people false hope because, the guy averaged 6 rebounds per game in college, and he's 7'7". So you got to be able to move and rebound. To play
All right,
in the
we
NBA.
gave you guys what you wanted. The taco talks there. You are all welcome. That tortilla makes me feel sick. All right, moving now to the Golden State Warriors. Just a brief update here on Klay Thompson. He did undergo his ACL surgery. It was a success, as most sports athlete surgeries are. His agent says it's a 5 to 7th month recovery time, which would put him as a possible return late in the year in the postseason.
Yeah, that's an interesting recovery time. It feels super soon, feels a little bit rushed, and I don't think they're going to rush anything. I mean, they already, if you think about it, the Warriors kind of already made a mistake rushing Kevin Durant. I know that's not all the Warriors' fault. Potentially it's KD as well, who wanted to get back that fast. But look, he's on board for 5 years. There's no reason to force his way back in 1 year, because it's not a make or break year for the Warriors by any means.
So here's a potential Warriors lineup with Klay Thompson, kind of a 3-guard hybrid lineup there. Maybe it's Kevon Looney, but Willie Cauley-Stein, I think, does bring you better size overall at center, because Looney is a bit undersized, even though he is a good defender. Draymond, and then you figure out the bench of Jordan Poole, Jacob Evans, Glenn Robinson, Smile Jeech. Still, I think, a finals contender.
I mean, at least Western Conference Finals contender. You can't count out. I'm excited to see Steph Curry, because I truly believe Steph Curry will be back in his MVP form now that this is, again, completely his team. He's got to really own it and make it what it can be. And look, Klay will be back at some point. I mean, there is a chance that if they make a run deep enough in the playoffs, or heck, I think even if they get to the first round of the playoffs, which I would assume they will, Klay Thompson could be there. He really could, and play some, maybe he plays 10 to 15, gets warm, and then as the playoffs go on, he ups his minutes. But if I'm Klay and if I'm the Warriors, I'm not pushing that 5 to 7 month recovery time.
All right, so let's recap all the signings that have happened today. Several of them just came in, including one involving the Warriors. Actually, 2 of them, really. Willie Cauley-Stein, reportedly for just above the minimum, which it's not. I'm surprised he took that. I thought he could have got more money elsewhere.
Yeah, definitely surprised on Willie Cauley-Stein's part. Again, love this for the Warriors. It's definitely a bargain deal. If he can be a lob threat and even a rim protector half the time, that's pretty darn good.
And then Glenn Robinson also coming over on a 2-year minimum deal with a player option in year 2. Again, I think it's a smart pickup here for Golden State.
It's basically just a flyer kind of guy. It's like, hey, if he doesn't pan out, nothing bad for us. And if he does, great. We have another wing to add to the rotation.
All right, more wings here. That's James Ennis III coming over on a 2-year $4.1 million deal.
I love this for
wrong there.
I love this for Philadelphia, and good for James Ennis. I think the Lakers really did want him. The Knicks and Clippers were definitely interested, especially if the Clippers or Lakers miss out on Kawhi. Just get another wing like James Ennis. But now he goes back to Philly. He can play a vital role in the defensive position where they lost out on Jimmy Butler.
Speaking of Philadelphia, they've also added Kyle O'Quinn. You like this one quite a bit.
I do. I love Kyle O'Quinn's toughness. He was kind of hidden behind Miles Turner, Domantas Sabonis, Thaddeus Young. Now that he's gone in Philadelphia, but when he was there, Kyle O'Quinn wasn't getting any kind of minutes. He's a high-energy guy off the bench. He can score around the rim, and he's going to, kind of bang around down low and get you rebounds and defense.
All right, pardon me as I go Mitchell Renz here with some of these pronunciations as we get going here. Marko Guduric coming over to the Memphis Grizzlies there. I actually did get that one right, by the way.
The only thing I really know about Marko Guduric is that... what is it?
Guduric
is that he can shoot the 3-ball pretty well, 47.7% from 3 last season in the EuroLeague. And, hey, his team won the Turkish League Championship, so he has to be a part of a winning culture. I mean, 2 years from Memphis, obviously they like something that they see, and he'll come over and play next year.
Insane numbers from 3, by the way.
Yeah, kind of nuts.
All right, another guard here, Ryan Arcidiacono is re-signing with the Chicago Bulls on a 3-year, $9 million deal.
I like it. Actually, Arcidiacono carved out a pretty nice role for himself in Chicago, just off the bench. That's kind of where he'll stay because they do have, Kobe White there now. Chris Dunn, they're looking to move, but Arcidiacono, I just want to call him Diacono. It's Arcidiacono.
Diacono sounds right though, right?
Yeah. He's gonna continue to play off the bench. Fun fact, that was the first basketball player I ever interviewed when he was at college in Villanova.
Look at that. All right, Vincent. Holy shit, look at all those vowels.
Look at that picture.
Okay, so Vincent signs with the Celtics here. How do you guys pronounce this? Use the phonetic spelling, please.
Poopery.
That's not it.
That's how everyone around the office here is saying it. I think it is Vincent Poopery.
It's not how it is there.
So the founder of Poopery is now a member of the Boston Celtics. Hey, he's a big man, and everything that I saw from him, he's a defensive kind of guy, and he'll kind of balance out that Enes Kanter offense, and he'll come in and be the defensive version of it.
Someone says Poorer, which is pretty close there.
Poirier. Poria.
Glebo. I'm going to get it wrong, so just bear with me here. I went back and I listened to literally his European League highlights. And as near as I can see it, it's Pawaya. Like Kawhi with a P at the beginning. Pawaya. Like, and I don't know where the R's go, but that's what they were saying.
Vincent Poopery.
That's what not. So it's French. I can't get it. I'm sorry, guys. Moving on to Brad Wanamaker. I got that one right. He's coming back to the Boston Celtics as well.
Yeah, he came over last year as a rookie where he had an incredible EuroLeague run. So he said, hey, I'll try it out in the NBA. Wasn't a very successful first year, but he was a restricted free agent. There's really no harm in bringing him back if you're the Celtics. Just some more assurance off the bench now that Terry Rozier is gone. Kyrie's gone. They now have Kemba Walker. So I guess he kind of slips into that backup point guard role.
All right, and then Boston continuing to make moves here. Daniel Theis coming in as well.
Yeah, I really like Daniel Theis as an option. Again, they keep getting these bigs because they lost Al Horford. That was their main big. Daniel Theis is a good shot blocker. He's kind of undersized, but he's really good at stretching the floor. He showed that he's got a nice three-point touch, which at this day and age of the NBA, like, you have to be able to shoot if you're going to stay on the floor as an undersized big man.
All right, the Dallas Mavericks, they are retaining Dorian Finney-Smith. What do you make of this one?
Yeah, I mean, 3-year, $12 million kind of seems like a bargain for the Mavericks. This is a guy they wanted to keep on their books. He's an important role player for them defensively. Not a great three-point shooter, but he's slowly starting to bring that in. Good defensive option here for Dorian Finney-Smith, and he was restricted, so there was probably a good chance they were going to get him back anyway. But instead of letting somebody go out there and overpay for him, they bring him back for $4 million a year. I think that's really reasonable if you're the Dallas Mavericks.
I'll make note for Dallas here, and I'm assuming this is the case, and correct me if I'm wrong here,
yeah.
But this is a scenario where Dallas is going to agree to the deal, but not re-sign Finney-Smith and Maxey and Kristaps until they use up the rest of their cap space, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Just keep the cap hold, which is far cheaper.
And at this point in free agency, we'll see who they actually end up with and see how they actually get, how many players they can get to actually fill out that cap space.
All right, folks, get us to 125K subscribers. We're at 122,415. That's the number there. We're approaching it. It wasn't that long ago. We weren't even above 101K.
Yeah.
Or 102K. And then the finals happen, then free agency happens. So make sure you're subscribed. We got over 3,000 of you guys watching right now. And I know you're not all subscribed. So if you like the show, if you like the shout-outs, make sure you are subscribed here. Hit us up with that subscription. We got our behind-the-scenes people putting the link in the chat for you, but you're watching on YouTube. Just hit the big red button. That's all you got to do. And when Kawhi inevitably signs, we will be live for you guys too.
Yeah, which I cannot wait for that to finally happen. It's the last domino that needs to fall.
All right, folks. So again, make sure you're subscribed here. Get us to that 125K number. Let me see if I can get the exact numbers here for you.
Yeah, what are we at, Tom?
And you get some shout-outs. If you've already subscribed, type S too.
Ryan says he's already subbed. It looks like Snake. Oh, Kevin Durant's in our chat. Snake has officially subscribed. Tori has subscribed. Vortex says he's subscribed. T McAfee. Shout out to you, Dan Play Z. G Kevin. Mark Brewer. Snake again. They're back. Man, the S's are rolling through. A lot of people are watching now. Mr. Burks, Jamal, Dan got the plan, and Mark Dent. All of them have already subscribed. Amir, if you guys have subscribed, let us know. Keep them rolling in. We'll continue to throw them out here. We're looking to get to 125K subscribers.
593 is the number there now, at that end number. So thank you all very much. Another signing here, Noah Vonleh heading over to the Minnesota Timberwolves, was with the Knicks last year. What do you think of this move here?
Well, thank the Lord above that the Knicks didn't re-sign him after they already got like 3 power forwards, Taj Gibson, Bobby Portis, and Julius Randle all going back. I like Noah Vonleh. He's a guy that hasn't hit his potential at all, but if you sign him for a minimum deal or whatever Minnesota did, which I would assume it's a minimum deal because they don't have much money left, it's a really good, probably a good risk. It's a flyer type guy that they can go out and get. I like it.
All right, folks, those are all the latest NBA signings here on day 3 of NBA free agency.